now that we've talked about our zones, some setup things, we can talk about making some sounds here. So the biggest thing for me in any starting quad player, intermediate, even advanced, is the stroke types. Two things, good sounds and efficiency. It makes the best sound and it makes us the most efficient as possible. If I'm playing a big stroke or a big accent followed immediately by a tap, the most efficient way to do that through a downstroke, right? If I'm rebounding off that, that's not efficient, right? Because I have to do two motions. I'm already coming off the drum, and I got to go back and reset for that, right? If I have a ton of time, and it's visual or something, maybe, but that's not the case here, right? So let's talk about stroke types. These are the real rudiments. This is the most basic building block of everything we do. And the first basic building block is the full stroke, also known as a rebound stroke, legato stroke. And all of this means you're starting at a certain height and you're ending at a certain height, right? So let's say I start, I don't know, just a good forte height. I'm here, and I start there, and I end there. That's a full stroke, right? I'm starting at one height, and I'm ending at one height. That's why I like to call it full, because it's a little more descriptive of the height and not necessarily like anything else around that. Because every stroke should really rebound, but it's just the extent that you rebound at. This is like a 1-to-1 ratio, right? If I'm going down 1, I'm coming back 1. Same height from here, go down, and immediately come back up. I'm just sending this stick with a good amount of velocity to where it's allowed to come back up, but I'm not pulling it back up in any way. It's just given its own trampoline to jump on, and then the weight of my hand, my arm, or whatever, stroke, the velocity is all bringing that back up. Now, say if I was to play a tap after that, the best way to get there would to be to go down. I'm playing a downstroke. And the down, again, refers to the height difference. I'm going from high to low. Now, that could be, maybe it's a really softer downstroke, like that, where I'm going to a higher height or something. Or it's a really, aggressively low downstroke where I'm going way down. The height starts somewhere and it ends lower than where it came from before. Now, the inverse of that will be an upstroke, where I start low and I end high, right? That's a soft note. So a tap or something like that, small note, and I'm just coming back up to my full stroke height. So when you're playing bucks, all you're playing is downstrokes and upstrokes. There's not really any rebound or full strokes there, that's why I don't like to use the word rebound stroke for the full stroke, because it's like, yes, it rebounds, but every stroke kind of rebounds to a certain extent, right? If I'm playing bucks or accent tap or whatever it is, and if for some reason I have a really full tap, like a really aggressive tap, which I wouldn't play like that normally, but if the passage required it, you're still rebounding, right? But we're thinking like, a 12-inch accent and a 3-inch tap or something, then yeah, it's pretty much fully down, minimal rebound on the end of it. We're just rebounding to where we play the next note. So as we got full, we got down, we got up, right? Make sense? There's also the fourth and fifth really, but the fourth idea of what's a tap, people say tap stroke. Well, if you think of the height system that we talked about already of, high and low, define these, this is just a low height to a low height, which is a 1-to-1 ratio or whatever, right? So that's also a full stroke. And we're rebounding, like there's rebound there still. The stroke is ending where it started. So I think of taps as more of a full stroke category. Saying taps is not like a bad thing. Like, yeah, taps exist. The idea of that stroke is really still fundamental to the first one we talked about, the full stroke. I guess you have the fifth one or maybe fourth one, or however we're classifying these. The last one to talk about is the buzz stroke. And that's more of press stroke, buzz press, what about that? Crush. That's kind of getting a different idea here, but some people do classify it as a stroke sometimes. This is getting more into like the rudiments and like ornaments and things like that. It does feel different to play than any other stroke, as in you're completely using pressure in your hand to add more bounces or more strokes to where it's at, which we'll get to that later on with like diddles and stuff. But those are the main stroke types you got that are really important. Full, down, and up. Those are the big three.